Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Career Retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible, awesome, super cool friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Hey, hey, ready
I
to
was
rock.
on mute. Hey,
Yeah, no mute, no mute.
Yeah, no mute today, guys. We do our show on Zoom, but that's besides the point. No, but as the title of this podcast suggests, tonight's show is about the album, the artist Jelusick, and their most recent release, Follow the Blind Man. This is Mike's pick. Well, not Mike's pick, Mike's sister's pick, and they wanted she wanted us to review it and do an album review on it. So here we are. We're talking about Follow the Blind Man by Jelusick or Dino Jelusick. And yeah, and I'm going first time because I was forced into doing this, but that's okay.
Woo. You can do it, man.
Woo!
We believe in you, bro. We believe
Yes,
in you,
I
and you're
have
gonna
to.
be just fine.
No, it's okay. And forgive us, Mike's gonna chime in because
Yeah,
Mike's
I'll,
his raised hand.
I'll just raise my hand now just to get it going here. But yeah, just some background. For those out there who really don't know who Jelusick is, and my sister is an absolute nut for this guy. She's been following him from his many, musical endeavors. I mean, the guy has been winning contests. He's been kind of up and coming amongst people in the music industry. He's from Croatia, so he came on to play keyboard for Whitesnake. He has been a member of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, their West Coast production that they put on through the United States. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's worked with Michael Romeo from Symphony X. He's been employed by many other type of musical artists to come in. I mean, you can hear his vocals, and for when you have vocals like he does, many will kind of seek your service. So yeah, just to kind of give you an introduction there, and just how he's kind of come to building his reputation as a for hire, and also just a musical. He master's degree, yeah, right there, Academy of Music. So he ain't just a some guy I don't know what is talking about the music. So
He's not just this random guy who's like, "Oh, I have a random metal band out of Croatia." No, it's that he's a really fancy guy. He's been around the block for a while now, since Whitesnake, truthfully, as Mike said.
sure.
No, but as we said from the top, though, this is an album that Mike's sister wanted us to review. I am going first, as I said before. I cannot pull up a track listing for us, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna pull up our on Google. So if you're watching us live, great. If you're listening to us, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is an album that it's funny that when Mike first said, "Hey, can we do this album by Jelusick?" I was like, "Who are you talking about? What's going on?" But then next thing you know, I was like, "You know what? Let's get into it a little bit, shall we? Let's talk about it and see what goes on." And I have to my initial impression was like, wow. First up, it's definitely melodic metal. It's right, it's up there for sure with like very hardcore. Not I wouldn't say hardcore metal for necessarily, but it's much more on the heavier side. If you're not into that stuff, this might not be for you. But at the same time, if you do like heavy metal, like harder than like Metallica or Megadeth or whatever, this might be for you actually. So, but yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? So I'm trying to find a track listing here. Forgive me.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably get one on YouTube if you use that, or
Let's try
you
that.
might be able to
if
find
you just go
something.
to all, it should be right there
Let's go
instead
to
of images.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Sorry, everyone.
I
You're
would, and I
Thank you.
would debate that this is harder than Metallica, but I mean,
No,
I
you're
would
I don't
not
say
know.
it's on par with Metallica.
Yeah, definitely.
okay.
Especially old Metallica's got some thrash and stuff.
Hmm.
This
Yeah.
definitely doesn't breach that, and that
Yeah.
kind of
I definitely when I say it's
area.
like harder to an extent. I mean, I'll get into it in a little bit, but so track one starts off with Reign of the Vultures. I gotta tell you right up front, this is actually solid like 8 out of 10 for me. I was because if we're going into it, I was like, all right, like I'm expecting like metal to. I the name Jelusic just to me alludes to a metal album, so I was like, all right, Mike's got a metal album coming up. Here we go. But no, Reign of the Vultures. I really like this track a lot more than I like when it first started. I was like, all right, I'm getting to this. But as the song evolved over time, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot throughout this album, but as you hear this song, this a lot of these songs evolve over the course of their runtime of like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or 6 minutes. I really did appreciate how they actually like it wasn't just like the same thing over and over. It wasn't just a chugging guitar. It wasn't just a guitar solo here. There was actually a lot of diversity in all of these songs. So Reign of the Vultures for me is actually an 8 out of 10 for that track there. Reign of the Vultures. Died the moment the song hits, I was like, wow, that's actually really something really crazy. But like, it was hard to get into the first couple listens, but as I listened to it more and more, I was like, all right, this is something I could cautiously get into more and more as time goes on. But like, and the more I'm going to say this again throughout this whole record, but the more I listened to it, the more I enjoyed more of it. So if you're listening to it a one-time through listen, you probably won't get the full experience as you might get listening to it over and over and over again. So that's for this song Died. When I first heard it, I was like, it's like a 6 or a 7. But then the more I listened to it, I was like, no, it's actually 7.5. And then I ended up with a 7.5 for Died right there. At a 10 for that one. Animal Inside. This is a really good track overall. Again, I like one thing I really enjoyed about this record was the diverse changes of, like I said, it's not just like Seek and Destroy by Metallica, which is a chugging guitar and a guitar solo here. There's actually a lot of complexity to these vocal patterns, these different types of songs on here. And I liked it quite a bit. Like I said, I would go back to this more over time. When I listen to it, when I say, "Hey, I'm going to listen to the Jelusick record," no. But when I listen to it, like if someone had it on, I would not complain. It's actually very, very good, solid, metal being produced today. That was Animal Inside was actually a 7.5 out of 10 as well. Kind of in a similar vein as Died. Follow the Blind Man, the title track.
Oh, here we go, folks.
So this
Spoiler alert.
Best on the album, right, JT?
So no, you both are wrong.
2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
No,
JT's turned over a new
this is okay.
This is
title
a
track
new JT.
leaf.
So
Yeah.
this title track,
2024 JT.
this title track is actually what was the best way to describe it? It's kind of reminded me of the Foo Fighters, but Here We Are title track. It's there, it's good, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. Like, for those of you who've listened to this for any period of time, I'm a title track whore. I love me a good title track. I love title tracks so much. You give me Toys in the Attic. You give me American Idiot. I love title tracks, but this one was good, but not great. I enjoyed it though, nonetheless. I really did enjoy it. Follow the Blind Man, the title track. Forgive me, Mike. Is he actually singing on this? The Jelusick's the lead vocalist, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's his last name is Jelusick without the K, but he put the K in there to be kind of, I don't know if that's like some kind of like, I'm sick, I'm Jelusick, and it's
right.
But
Really cool.
yeah,
it's a sick name.
yeah, so cool.
It's so cool. No, but Follow the Blind. I like the track. But I didn't when I first saw. Oh, it has a title track. I was like, all right. My anticipation was like, all right, I can't wait to get to track 4. But no, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy as much as I thought I was going to. Truthfully, it's a solid. It's not a bad song nonetheless, but it's a solid like 7 out of 10 for me. It's hovering just below a 7.5 for this one. But it's still a good track nonetheless. I enjoyed the piano work on it quite a bit. I enjoyed how it flowed and how it developed a lot of emotion throughout the track too. It's a good track nonetheless, but it's not my favorite on the album. Actually, believe it or not, then we get down to what I want. What I want is just a solid like 8 out of 10. Great track. Just it rips through it's kind of like picks up where Father Blind Man left off in a sense. Like as far as like oh here's the title track. Oh, here's what I want. It actually kind of increased.
Actually, what you want.
And it was actually what I wanted exactly. So if you put it that way, that's an 8 out of 10 for me there. Acid Rain was actually really, really a great track overall. I'm saying about like a 7.5, maybe pushing a 7.75 or an 8 out of 10 on that one. Healer, again, kind of beating a dead horse here, but like again, I really enjoyed the different change ups in the song and in the writing and the music in general. So Healer and The Great Divide and Flying High again. I'm just gonna kind of lump them all into one thing for a second. These 3 tracks, you definitely hear the uniqueness of these songs, but I shouldn't say, but like these songs have great cohesiveness to them, and I enjoyed the change-ups. Like it's not just, again, I'm beating a dead horse here. Like I said, it's not just a same riff, same chord progression, same blah blah blah. These are actually, if you're looking to get, I would say if you're looking to get into more metal, that's more like that change-ups and stuff like that. This actually probably a solid choice to go into something like this in general, and then go from there. But Healer, The Great Divide, and Flying High again, great tracks overall. Healer is at a 7.5. The Great Divide's at about a 7, and Flying High again is at an 8 out of 10. Because I was, again, who would have thought that me of all people would actually enjoy a record that Mike picked out? I'm just kidding, Mike. I love you. Don't worry. No, but
Fair
this is
enough.
actually a really solid record. And then we get to the last two tracks on the record, Chaos Master, and then The Bitter End, which is Chaos Master Part 2. These two tracks, I didn't, when I first saw the subtitle for The Bitter End of the Chaos Master Part 2, I was like, all right, well, they must, it might be like Avenged Sevenfold's record where there's a DIE, like a part, 1 through 3 right there. I was thinking it might have been something like that. And no, actually, we got something a little bit different, very different than that, which I really enjoyed. Chaos Master, I'm actually saying about like I saw like 7.5. I could push that a little bit more there. But The Bitter End with Chaos Master Part 2, that actually was a very, it didn't feel, the ending of this album did not feel like I wanted to hear more like from the album, because it's a long record. It's like a 53-minute record. But and there's nothing wrong with that. What I did enjoy about this album was, though, it ended on a note, meaning such as it ended on such a satisfactory note where I could listen to this from start to finish if I have an hour of time in my life at this point, because I work 3 jobs. But but besides that, though, I feel like I can go back to this album, sit through all 53 minutes of it, and actually enjoy a full album and a full product that I really wanted to hear and see and or just experience and enjoy. So to kind of sum it up here, I'm sitting at a if my ratings of any of all these songs are any sort of indication, I would actually say that I'm sitting at about an 8 out of 10, truthfully, for Jelusick's Follow the Blind Man on our review here tonight, because this is just a great record. I really wish that more artists like this would be discovered by more mainstream, like not necessarily pop or hip hop or whatever, but just I wish more people could pick up a record and say, hey, let me just give this a shot and say, oh snap, this is a really great record. I really enjoyed this, blah, 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 blah. And I wish more people could be exposed to, good quality like metal or rock like this more often than they already do now, which I really applaud Mike's sister for giving us this album to listen to. Mike says it looks like he's about to say something. What do you got?
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, like there aren't too many bands that don't have a ton of promotion,
Yeah,
where they take off and really feel like they have a lot more force behind them. Like usually someone has to kind of open the doors for them or promote them. So which didn't get a ton of promotion from any, just being involved with other acts can open the doors. So yeah, I was just gonna say that, and
yeah,
that it's that quality comes with experience. Experience in the music industry. So yeah.
yeah. But yeah, for me, I'm sitting at about an 8 out of 10 for this one. This is actually a really solid record overall. I actually enjoyed it. At first, I was like, all right, it's another metal record. We're gonna sit through another Avenged Sevenfold, Life is But a Dream. But no, we actually sat through and listened to a really, in my opinion, a collective effort record that actually sounds cohesive. It kind of reminded me of like how 21st Century Breakdown kind of flows from one song to another to an extent, but not like directly like where the songs fade in and fade out with each other. But just as a product, putting it out there, it really just held up. The more I listened to it, the more I wanted to get into it, the more I wanted to be like, all right, this is just a great music overall, great rock music, great metal, just a really great sound. I like the production on it too. I forgot to mention that too. The production on it's really solid and really enjoyable. So I'm saying that's why I'm saying about an 8 out of 10 for Jelusick's Follow the Blind Man. But yes, that is my rating of 8 out of 10. But I know that, listen, I'm gonna let Mike go last. I want to hear what Kyle has to say about
Yeah,
this.
me too. I think Kyle's very important. My prediction for Kyle is going to
Okay.
be a 5 out of 10. That's my prediction for
That's a
Kyle. I just
solid
have a pretty.
two.
I feel like I know Kyle really well, so But
Okay.
yeah, I'm just putting that up.
All right. Well, then I'll just go into it. I went through this. I went into this one completely blind, no background
Like a
on
blind man.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You were
Okay.
following me on this one. Yeah, no, I knew nothing about Jelusick going into this, any bands he had been involved with in the past, anything like that. So completely blind going into it, and I was pretty satisfied with what I heard. So I'll start Rain of Vultures. I did find it a bit on the repetitive side. The guitar riff is good, but felt it was a bit overdone at times. The organ solo that was in there was really cool. Thought that was very well done. That particular solo, though, reminded me a lot of the song Smokin' by Boston, like eerily similar, and not just because it's an organ, it was just eerily similar to it. It does feel a bit just disjointed at times where the I feel like the individual pieces were good, but as a whole, sometimes it didn't mesh or transition as well as I would have liked. Particularly that like middle bit where the song just kind of stops for a second there and then goes again. It's about a 6 out of 10. Good song, had good aspects. I wish it went other places. Died. We got another 6 out of 10 here. A lot of the same things I said for the first one apply here, where there's more cool pieces that just didn't go as far as I would have liked them to. The chorus, the verses are really good. The chorus doesn't feel satisfying coming off from it. Like coming off of those to me, I didn't think it was a particularly strong chorus. I didn't think the transition into that was particularly strong. Also, that the first half of the I only know what I've been told portion of the song reminds me so heavily of 90s era Metallica. Down to just that James Hetfield voice. They were at a 6 out of 10 here. Then we go into what I think is my least favorite portion of this album, the next two tracks, Animal Inside and Follow the Blind Man. I'm going to kind of put them together almost in a way here. I just kind of felt like this was like pretty standard, generic thrash. I didn't think it was anything like, it's not bad. I just don't think it brings anything like more to the table. At this point of the album, I was starting to kind of realize that the vocals weren't going to do anything more than they were already doing. The vocals on this record just kind of, they're very good. They're well done, but it doesn't do much in terms of range or style. It's pretty much the same thing throughout, which if you dig that, great, you're probably going to like it. They're not my favorite styling of vocals. It's very, very Ronnie James Dio influenced, 100% without a doubt. And I love Dio. It's just never been my go-to vocal stylings. And then Follow the Blind Man, this is kind of your stereotypical thrash, almost ballad, not quite, kind of more like power ballady. I felt like that one went on a bit too long. If it was a bit shorter, it could maybe go higher, but those are both fives for me. What I want. Now we're getting into what I want. The next few songs here, the album actually really picked up for me. Nothing like super groundbreaking or anything, but songs I would actually all liked these next few and would put them on playlists. I mean, what I want, the album really started to pick up here. This actually has some energy and attitude to it that I liked a lot that I felt like was missing from the first few songs. Reminds me on vocal delivery at portions of David Draymond from Disturbed, actually. Had a very Disturbed feeling to it on like some of the faster vocals. Acid Rain guitar, the guitar carries this one pretty hard. Incredible guitar work on this one. So the riffs on here are just top-notch thrash riffs. It's great, incredibly well done. And while we're talking about guitar, I want to go back to Animal Inside for a second. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, Animal Inside. Best guitar solo of the album. Not my favorite song, but the guitar solo on that track, top tier, excellent solo. I wish the rest of the song had more of that. But anyway, let's go back in order. Healer, we got another 7. It's the catchiest chorus of the album. Wish it did a little bit more. 7 out of 10, good song. And then we get to the one that's tied for my favorite on the record here is The Great Divide. This is an 8. Healer might have the catchiest chorus on the album, but this has the best chorus of the record. It's the most passionate song here, maybe rivaled by one I'll get into later, and it shows. Uh, the quality when I feel like there's passion put into a song and not just, here's some like thrash instrumentals and metal vocals. It kind of feels like an 80s power ballad to me. It doesn't feel like a product of its time in the year 2023 when this came out. It 100% feels like it could have been done with modern production decades ago, and it would fit right in. Really liked it. This guitar solo on here, the tapping solo on here is great, well executed. Then we get to Fly High Again, not an Ozzy cover. Kind of hoping, but this one, coming off that stretch of 4 tracks, this just felt like a filler track to me. Just kind of generic feeling, nothing too crazy here. It's kind of a 5. Works in context of the album, but I probably wouldn't go back to it on its own. Chaos Master is interesting to me because if you've listened to us before, you'll know that I'm not super into experimental or like prog sounding things. This, specifically the intro of this, did this interesting thing where it kind of mixed thrash with a little bit of like prog, like progressive guitar in there. And I thought that was really cool. But they didn't take it to a spot where I wish they did. They kind of just kind of let it sit there in the beginning and it then kind of took a back seat. So we got a 6 on that one. And then we're going to get to the other one I was talking about before. The Bitter End Chaos Master Part 2 goes back and forth between this and The Great Divide for my favorite. This, and JT, I'm surprised you didn't say this. This sounds like Elton John. If we're going to be real, this sounds like a mid to late career Elton John song. And even down to the vocals. I loved this. I thought this is a beautiful ending to the album. Added some well needed variety to the record. 8 out of 10. I mean, the dude's vocals on this one killed it. It's one where he was actually able to showcase a range of his voice that I feel like he didn't utilize enough on the album. The guy's a great singer. I'd like to hear more of what he could do. Maybe with other artists, he's done more with that range and really showcased it to a greater extent. But I mean, yeah, so this album, it started off, I was a little bit iffy at first, I won't lie. But really, once it got past the title track, I enjoyed quite a bit of this. I did notice, completely agree with JT. You need more than one listen on this.
Yep.
You won't appreciate it enough on just the first listen, because on the first listen in general, I was like, I don't know, it's just kind of there. But the more I listened to it, the more I actually found myself really enjoying it, to the point where I would say 3/4 of the album, half to 3/4 are songs that I would just listen to and put into my my liked songs into my playlists and all that. So overall, yeah, it's a 6.5 for me.
Right.
Little higher
that
than
was...
what Mike thought. But yeah, actually, with time and more listens, I could see a decent handful of those tracks going higher. I could see the album itself going higher, but with the amount of time that I had for it, 6.5.
Oh, you heard it first. And now we go to Mike.
All right. Well, yeah. So I came into this. I knew of the album. My sister is literally obsessed with this album, playing it nonstop, and I didn't really hear any of the tracks. I just was told a million times to listen to it. So finally got around to it, and I knew the guy's history, his look, his style. I felt like I kind of had an idea of what I might be hearing, and I was actually kind of surprised by the modern production and some of the modern riffage, which borders on at times almost like a gent feeling to some of the stuff. Yeah, it bordered on moments of progressive metal. It bordered on 80s. It bordered in a lot of areas, but kind of brought them all together without selling out to one side too much of the other. It does have probably a majority of an 80s kind of rock feel at times, some of those power chords he's using, but it's still the thundering production, the drums, the chugging of the riffs, the guitar tone. you really kind of are served up a modern twist to an older 80s feel, which I kind of feel like a union brings a union together, that even a younger fan could take a liking to, without a muddled kind of muddy kind of production and guitar sound. So I appreciated that. So yeah, like I said, going right into Rain of Vultures. First thing we encountered with this album, with this, we got those keyboards underneath the chunky guitars, and you got hearable bass, which is always a great thing in a metal album. Kind of all the layers are there. And I'm almost opposite of Kyle with that whole break in the song. I absolutely loved that break at 252 to a point where I wished that it happened and continued to happen again, like that one breakdown, that one part where it just like drops. I wanted to hear more of that, but it just ended so quick. But then that we get that riff at the end, it just has such an epic feel to it. Amazing leads on this. The second movement, the vocals have just this Middle Eastern melodic flair to them. This almost like Egyptian. When he was doing stuff like that. It kind of gives it that Middle Eastern Egyptian feel to it. Yeah, this was a great song, one of my favorite, straight off the bat, 9 out of 10. For me on the Reign of Vultures, and then we kind of go off into Died. Hate the title, hate the
You
it's like
too, huh?
died, like I know I hate that title. I'm like, died what? Like it just seems incomplete, like somebody was writing the title and forgot to finish the rest of it. And I know he says it in the song, but that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be the title, just because you say those words in it. More rhythmic, more heavy. They got the organ keyboards underneath, once again adding to that sound. Chorus is decent, but doesn't blow me away on Died. I'm more so like, just like the heaviness of the opener. Powerful vocal. I mean, this guy's got some powerful vocals. You're definitely going to be served up if you're a fan of like Queensryche, or you're a fan of Iron Maiden, or you're a fan of some of the classic 80s stuff. You're going to be a fan of this. And if you really look into music, and the power this guy kind of brings, it definitely it definitely is there. Song has less complexity, to the structure, more repetitive, but not in a terrible way. And then he does that Middle Eastern feel again to the vocals, that part where I only know what I've been told. He's doing that again, and it's interesting. He kind of keeps returning to that Oriental kind of like, the Middle Eastern flair to it. So, I actually like that kind of stuff. I appreciate that in music. It adds a little bit of a diversity to the sound, and kind of gives you a little bit of a different melodic, kind of a effect. So yeah, so yeah, this was an 8 out of 10 for me. I appreciated it. So then kind of go over to Animal, in me inside, almost at Animal me. Yeah, so this one, it definitely it has that heavy opening riff. Reminds me of this band Mercenary that I actually like. Shout out to Mercenary. But it goes straight into a very 80s kind of riff. Chunky guitars once again. The true champion of this track though is definitely the combination of those guitars and the soaring vocals. It really brings it to that level. Another great solo. This freaking guitarist is obsessed with pinch harmonics.
Hmm.
Holy crap. He uses pinch harmonics so much. It almost kind of like reminds me. I don't know if you like, I'm a little older than you guys, but do you remember the movie Karate Kid that came out? How
No.
like in Karate Kid he does the like, the crane move, and he
Yeah.
does the and
Mm.
everybody when I was in school, everybody did the Karate Kid crane kick. Like it was a thing you did on the playground to show off to the other kids that like, I know karate. Look, I watched Karate Kid. Here's the crane kick. It reminds me of this guy like learning pinch harmonics for the first time. And he's like, look, I can pinch harmonic, and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna do it again. And like, while it doesn't annoy me, I kind of found it funny to just hear how many times this guy would do a pinch harmonic like in a musical phrase. And I was just like, my God, like, bro, like we get it, like it was just kind of funny. And we hear more of that later on. So this one was not one of my all-time favorite. on the album, 7 out of 10, but I appreciated what it brought. Follow the Blind Man. This is definitely has that cliche 80s ballad to it. And with that underneath acoustic guitar following it. And I am definitely here for that. I love the cheese. I love the 80s cheese. I really have always been a fan of that kind of stuff. Obviously, if we're gonna say Chicago's 80s cheese to their original stuff, that's pitting me against music songs that are more catchy to me versus the 80s cheese, which I do, I appreciate song writing over just the 80s kind of cliches, but I still love that part of that. I felt Dino's voice on this song was awkward at times. He was trying to go too low, almost to a point where it made him sound very strange. It felt like he was doing a lot of heavy lifting on this song to a point where he was really showing off what he could do and almost not achieving it. And that really took me out of this song. He definitely has a range, but he's trying to do too much on this song. Good solo brings an epic feel. It's just the chorus kind of got stuck in my head, even outside of listening to the album, which is cool. But there were some awkwardness to it. So yeah, I'd give that a 7 out of 10. And then we'll go off to what I want. I'm actually kind of opposite you guys on this one. What I want was okay. I liked what I want. But I just kind of the what I want part just kind of repeats and then it kind of just go what I want again. And it just kind of goes, I like that riff, the 80s riff. It's got some cool stuff going on here. But it, almost felt it had a Bon Jovi feel to it at times of the opening, the way he's singing. It just reminds me so much of Bon Jovi. Not a bad song, nonetheless. 7 out of 10. Definitely it's a solid kind of just a good upbeat track. So yeah, like still we're chugging along and I was actually pretty impressed here. And then we get to Acid Rain. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on this album. I mean, like Kyle said, and he nailed it on the head. The guitar work is absolutely fantastic on this. This is pinch harmonic heaven. This guy's like going for the world record of how many squeals and pinch harmonics he can do. But I mean that pre-chorus is awesome. Straight into that great chorus. His voice is just howling here. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album. And I found myself showing it to people at work because I really enjoyed that one so much. And yeah, I was hoping for more of that style of stuff. And then we go into my least favorite track of the album, Healer. And it's ironic that like I was listening to what you guys were saying on it. I don't really like the southern kind of like country rock feel on this. I wouldn't say country, I would say southern rock, but I would say I don't really like that kind of southern rock feel on this. I mean, nothing special. The chorus wasn't it was one of those tracks I skipped over. That I came back and listened to for the sake of this review, but just didn't do anything for me. We'll go into the Great Divide, another 80s ballad, and I love it. I just love that. I love that feel to this. I love the epicness of it. Lyrically, it is a touching song. Completely agree with Kyle. Once again, Dino goes a little too low. I feel like he's going out of his range. A little awkward at times. But he's achieves the feeling that he wants to get across. Checks a lot of boxes. So 8 out of 10. Solid song. And then we get to the Fly High again. That is an awesome opening riff. Holy crap. It is like straight Pantera meets like just like a southern rock riff, but just heavy. And I love that. And I love it almost had a disturbed feel to it when he's like, start doing the disturbed stuff at the beginning of that song and dipped back in on and off throughout that part. Got a cool breakdown in that the soaring solo, every solo at the end of each song, which I really appreciate a lot of these having great solos. This is a message to Metallica. wake up. You guys can still play like this. You guys can still bust off solos. You can still have some dynamics to your vocals. You don't have to just mail it in, Metallica. You know who you are. All right. Start playing solos again. Start harmonizing your guitars again and using awesome production.
Start having
This album
songs
is
that go places again.
right. That have movements, like JT said.
Hmm.
JT nailed it on the head. Dino is a huge fan of progressive music. He likes music that changes, but he's obeying the structure of a song. The chorus, the pre-chorus, the bridges in between each part. The songs are on the border of looking like they're going to be long, but none of them ever go into Dream Theater area where you need to like take out vacation just to get through an album. Like you basically they're on the edge of long, but they never seem to quite breach the threshold of like going too long. And then we'll kind of go off into Chaos Master. Definitely the cheeriest, definitely the cheesiest of all the lyrics in this album, mixture of the 80s, and it has like that genty feeling alongside it. But I really appreciate the song. It's definitely got some 80s twists along the way. Yeah, Chaos Master was actually pretty cool. And gave it solid 7 out of 10. And then I actually really enjoy. I know Kyle really appreciates an album that has like a closer that brings it all back together again and kind of like reiterates the song previously, but like in that 80s ending closing ballad. And you love a good album that closes on a note that like kind of reins it all in and shows the struggle of somebody's their internal vision of who they are and what they're kind of like they mean to people. And yeah, the bitter end, 8 out of 10. So as I always do, I award a half point for something, or I take a half point away based on something in the album I didn't like. Production wise, musicianship wise, layers wise, change up wise, this album gets an extra half a point. So it brings me into an 8 out of 10. I definitely feel like solid. If you like a good musical journey that doesn't kind of it doesn't ever lose track of what it's bringing, but it also never starts to kind of give up on what it's offering and how it's going to kind of like stay in the realm that it's like in. This is the kind of album for you, and kind of a real awakening of an 80s feel with a modern production. So yeah, 8 out of 10, a solid album from and he's got some other bands coming up and other. I'm sure I'd like to hear the next musical kind of offering.
Awesome. Well, listen, you heard it here first, ladies and gents. Children of all ages, metal fans alike. 8 out of 10 from Mike, a 6.5 from Kyle, and an 8 out of 10 from yours truly
He's
himself.
the villain. Boo, boo.
Oh, who would have guessed?
I'm taking the night off from being the villain, so it's
Boo. No.
okay.
He's the villain. I'm just kidding.
Hey, but like I said, I always appreciate honest opinion.
Yep.
Hey, if you hate this album in the comments, rip it to shreds. If you love it, give a thumbs up and tell us why you love it. With every dark, there's light. With every thing that someone loves, there's someone that hates it. And I feel like if we didn't have these two guys here, three guys all together, having something different to say, people get a little bored of the same view of something. So yeah, I always appreciate something, even if it's negative or they don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. We want to thank you all for watching, listening, however you enjoyed this tonight. Thanks so much for enjoying this really good discussion about an album that Kyle, but Mike's
Oh.
sister. What? What are you talking about? No, Mike's sister recommended that we discuss tonight, and that bravo to your sister, Mike. She actually picked a really solid choice for all of us to just go in blind and say, "Hey, here's an album, let's do it." And
That's
I
it, man.
appreciate that. So.
Kicking and screaming. No, not kicking.
Kicking and screaming.
And
But we want to thank
screaming.
you all for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Sign off in the comment section below on our YouTube channel and let us know what you guys think of this. Kyle, Q&A podcast is back.
It's back.
Yay!
Wherever you get your podcasts. New episode came out today, actually.
Yes, and I will say it before, I'll say it again. Follow the Q&A podcast. They do incredible work over there. Just Kyle and his friend just doing whatever they do. It's great stuff. But ultimately, guys, what you guys have said there, please sound off in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching this video. And for all of us here at the Career Retrospectives crew, stay